I actually love seeing people progress and become better. So that's what my passion is.
Welcome to the next episode of My Posing Coach. My name's Amy Fox, and today I'm joined by a good friend, mother of one, little Mayali, and wife to Lucas, IFBB Figure Pro, what else? Teacher, Asha Pryor.
Hello.
Asha, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I was trying to think of everything that you've done and rattle it off in the intro, but I'm thinking I've probably missed a few things.
That's it. We're done now.
I was about to say as well, your famous quote, and daring to be remarkable, Asha Pryor.
Yes.
I saw that on your old website, and I
Yes.
also saw it on your Facebook page.
That is my life motto.
Yeah, it's a good one. When did you come up with that?
I've just always thought, it's really important to just be brave, to be brave in whatever pursuits that you want to go for. And over time it kind of developed from dare to be remarkable to dare to be your own kind of remarkable.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So it's evolved just a little bit.
It has.
Yeah.
I've written it on walls and everything.
Have you?
Everywhere.
At home? Or just like on the back of toilet doors at shopping centres and stuff. You never know who you might inspire by that anyway. Now tell me, how's Mayali going?
Yeah, really good. She's almost 11 and 11 going on 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a full amount of attitude in our house.
She's
sassy. It's good.
She's into the sports though, isn't she? Like, is she doing gymnastics?
Yeah, she was into gymnastics and cheerleading and dancing, but it's kind of evolved now. She's into football.
Is she?
Yeah.
What type of football? Soccer football?
Tag. Tag.
Yeah.
Yep. So she loves that, and I'm kind of pushing her more towards those kinds of sports because after spending a lifetime of doing
bodybuilding,
gymnastics and all those sorts of things myself, it'd be nice for her to be in more of a team sport where there was a bit more, support camaraderie and things like that.
It's quite social too, isn't it? That sort of thing. And speaking of which, you were a state level gymnast?
Yes.
Before bodybuilding? I
wasn't a great gymnast, but I was a state level gymnast.
I don't believe that.
I was okay. I was dedicated.
Yeah.
And then, before that, I was dancing and things from, before I could walk, I think. But then that kind of evolved. What sort of
dancing were you doing?
Oh, just all like that calisthenics style dancing.
That's why you're a good poser, Asha.
Yes,
you've got the dance background.
Yes.
Yeah. And the good posture with the gymnastics.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome.
So it started there, and gymnastics and judging and coaching most of my teenage life, and then moved into sports aerobics when that became popular, and was a national level like sports aerobics.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah.
So that's, and I suppose the like sports aerobics now isn't as popular, and I guess that's why Mayali's doing the cheerleading.
The cheerleading,
it's kind of the same.
Over,
is it similar? Like,
I think so. Yeah. Yes, it's definitely similar. And then, sort of from that, it moved into fitness. So before I did figure, I was into fitness and fitness routines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Do you find like you've maintained a lot of your flexibility and your agility?
No.
You've lost it all? Do you blame that, because of the weights?
I think so. And just a lack of stretching over time.
Yeah.
But I seem to, I'm pretty bad with the stretching these days, but now as I prep, the more cardio I do, the more stretching I do, and then as soon as the cardio drops off, so does the stretching.
Yeah, so does the stretching. I was exactly the same. But do you find that you now are more reliant on like, a massage therapist or something like that?
Oh, yeah. I'm lazy.
Get you through rather than, because the training does take it out of you, obviously, doesn't it?
I've got a great massage therapist, so I even get him to stretch me. So,
and he's based in Wollongong?
Yes. Bruce Powers down in Shellharbour Village. Yeah, he's great. Very thorough, lots of different techniques.
And how long have you been utilising him? Like, has he been part of your prep protocols the whole time?
Yeah, so all of this year, because it's always hard to find a good massage therapist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, all of this year, every other week, and it's been really good.
And we were talking again off air about you had a back injury in 2015, so you sat out that year of competing.
Yeah.
When you had your back injury, was that something that you were getting looked at like through the massage? Did massage help, or is this something that was, a lead up through poor training technique? Like what was it that caused the injury, and what was it?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, on reflection, that injury itself, I think, probably stemmed from the fact that I had a weak core, which I didn't realise at the time. And now I know, you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Yep.
So, and I mean, I guess you always think, like I always trained abs, didn't actually mean that I had a strong core.
Strong core.
And then some of my technique and some of my bigger lifts and stuff probably wasn't that great. So I ended up with an L5 S1 bulging disc, no tears, which was good. Just took a really long time to rehab.
And you kept re-aggravating it for a little while there.
Yeah, because I mean, at the time I didn't realise that it was my core that was causing it. I was thinking it was more just my technique, and it really wasn't until probably last year that I actually started going to Sebastian Oreb and Andrew Locke's Deconstructing the Lifts seminars, and I really talking to Andrew was really, really enlightening to me. He didn't even have to do anything. He just looked at me and made me do two things.
Sussed you out.
Sussed me out in about 2 minutes. And
so what were the little movements that he got you to do that he thought, right, she's struggling with that and that's a big deal?
So in terms of the rehab?
Yeah, like what? Yeah. How do you pick up on your injury so quickly?
It was probably just a few of the little tests that he does. I can't remember exactly what the tests were. That's right. But and then he just gave me a few of the rehab movements that I needed to be doing on a daily basis. And then adding to that, it was, the plank work and then the unstable bases for the plank work and things as well. And then I've just kind of been monitoring over time as I've gotten stronger to make sure that my core is keeping up with that too.
And that's funny coming from a gymnastics background. Like, do you think it had anything to do with pregnancy and, creating a weakness that you were just unaware of?
Yes. And I think over time, early on in the piece, like I've always used corsets and things when I prep for a show.
I remember that actually, yeah.
And I just maybe feel like that actually made me a little lazy.
Yeah.
So even over time, I've changed kind of how I use the corsets and how much time I spend doing core work and things as well. And I don't use them when I train because I want to work my core while I'm training. But probably early on it was actually making me lazy and a little weaker.
Yeah, because you're just not using it as much, so to speak.
Yeah.
But, I mean, are you the type of person that says, there's a time and place for the corset? Like a lot of competitors will probably ask you, should I wear one? Shouldn't I wear one if I'm trying to make my waist smaller?
Yep.
Like, what are your thoughts or what are your recommendations?
I think definitely after I had a baby, I needed it. Mm-hmm. Just to pull everything in tighter. It wasn't about flattening out from the front. It was more so to bring in from the sides. Yeah.
To support the spine, like
and to just kind of squeeze everything in.
Yeah.
So definitely I think it was important for me, anyone who's a bit more squarer, straight up and down.
Yeah. So were you wearing it, how sometimes like you'll read on the internet and it says wear it for 8 hours a day and sometimes go to bed and sleep in it. Yeah. Like how much were you wearing it?
I tried the whole sleep in it thing. Don't bother.
Yeah, uncomfortable?
Oh my God, it was the worst. And I would wake up every morning and it would be open flat on the bed and I'd be like, I don't even remember taking that off.
Yeah, in the nighttime, like, get it off. Yeah.
So, no, and it just ruins your sleep because you can't sleep properly in it anyway. I don't think that it made anything better or no. So really for me, 6 to 8 hours during the day. Yeah. Probably in the last, it's about 6 to 8 weeks. I started about 8 weeks out. We'll wear it a couple of hours here and there, and then.
But for cardio or for weight training sessions?
No, just during the day.
Just random. Yeah.
Random. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Just ordinary everyday stuff. And and then 6 to 8 hours. So really for me, it's like when I'm at work.
Yeah.
I'll do my cardio in the morning, have my shower, put it on, wear it all day, and then when I train in the afternoon, I take it off. Sometimes I'll use a soft one when I'm training, but that's more just for a bit of support and stuff. But usually now, because I want to work my core, I don't use anything at all.
And so are you doing preventative core work before you train, or are you dedicating sessions just to your core work?
No, I start every session now with some mobility and activation work, depending on what area I'm doing, but usually always with planks and stuff as well.
Yeah. So, and it's such a simple exercise, and one of those sort of, well, it's not a simple exercise, but, you know, something basic that you see in all the magazines, like everyone's doing planking, but you don't realise how beneficial it actually can be for your bigger lifts and your more complicated workout plans as well. Like, it's really quite a useful movement.
Yeah.
Or isometric contraction.
Yeah, and I'd actually stopped doing them, and then so when I went back and I did that deconstructing the lifts and looked at my planks and stuff, it was embarrassing. Like,
really?
I could do maybe 20 seconds and then I'd start shaking. Here I am with all these muscles and
struggling in a
plank.
Yeah. So were you doing like side plank and then you?
Yes. So so I'll do the side plank with the arm up, plank on the elbows, and then start adding unstable bases, so moving the feet or the spider where you bring your knees up, things like that.
Ash, you spending like 5 minutes for mobility?
Yeah. So it's usually, 5 minutes on the core and then a few minutes on whatever, shoulders or hips or knees or whatever else I need to be
whatever
doing.
is leading into the next body part for the program. No, that's awesome. Yeah, good. So, like, you were the type of person in the beginning that didn't really mobilise that much. Like, did you find you started doing it more after your injury?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I guess it's important for longevity as well. Like, if you want to be doing this, furthermore, then you've got to start to look after your body and prep your body for your workouts. So, not just prepping physically, but mentally as well. Like, is there anything that you visualise, or do you kind of have to get into the right frame of mind to do a session?
No.
Awesome.
No, there's not really. No, look, I love training.
Yeah.
I love training. So it doesn't take much to get me excited to be at the gym and wanting to do a really hard session. It's a sickness, I think.
But like some people do. Like for me, I would have to sort of pep myself up and, prepare and think, right, today I'm training legs and tomorrow I'm doing back, and really start to visualise it. But other people like yourself, Justin's the same. Like, he just loves being at the gym, and that's all he has to worry about is just making sure he makes it to the gym, and the rest is history kind of thing. Yeah. So it's cool.
I think, the closer I get to a show and the tireder I get, it does take a little bit more to get me motivated. Usually at that point it's music, it's music that'll get me through a whole session or through my cardio sessions and things. But normally I'm just happy to be there.
Yeah, enjoying being there.
And I think too that's partly because being in the gym, that's my time.
Yeah.
I'm not mum, I'm not wife, I'm not teacher, that's me.
So speaking of teaching, what age group do you teach?
So I'm a primary school teacher.
Yeah.
But I'm not on class. I teach English as a second language. So I teach refugee students, new arrival students. I've been doing that for a few years, and I really enjoy it. It's really rewarding.
I bet it is, yeah. Yeah, it's something different as well. And like you said, then you've got your time to yourself when you're at the gym and it's just you. Yeah. And it's a nice little contrast.
Yes. And I mean, knowing what I know about different people's lives and their stories, being able to walk in a gym's a privilege. So
yes,
I love, as hard as it is, and sometimes it's a struggle. It's not really. It's actually, I'm really lucky to be able to do it.
Yeah, and you're able-bodied and you're able to do well when you're not injured.
Yeah,
when you're it makes you appreciate it even more when you have been injured, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you start to look after your body more.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. When did you start competing? So when was your first competition? So you finished your aerobics, you finished your gymnastics, and then you started competing when?
Yeah, so I think my very first little show was probably the end of 2016. It was just like a little regional show, and I think I got ready for...
Were you living in Wollongong then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. the trainer at the gym that I was going to, Vicky, had said, "You do great at this." And I was like, "What is this?"
I've never heard of it
I
before.
was like, "Okay, I'll give it a go."
And did you do figure?
I did. Yes, it was figure.
What year was that?
2016, the end of 2016.
So they did have bikini class then, or?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because when I started, I did my very first show in 2007, and they didn't have bikini then. So it was only figure.
Yeah.
Like, it was just an unheard of
Did I
thing.
say 2016?
2016.
Oh, no, I'm lying.
2006, wasn't
2006.
it? 2006, yeah.
God, I'm old.
I remember you started, I was pretty sure you started a year or two before me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my first show was 2007. So yours was 2006.
2006.
Figure.
And I got on stage and I was like, oh my God, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Loving it,
Yeah,
loving every second.
Loving every second.
Was that the
of
competition that you wore the red costume?
Oh no, that was
the
some homemade job, bikini, little blue thing. You know, back then photos were still on bloody negatives. Like,
Yeah.
so I don't think you'd find a photo of that.
Asher is ancient.
Yeah, so after that, I was like, oh my God, I love this. And then I went and did fitness and fitness model in another federation. That was 2017, and I went overseas for that. And funny story, I became the world amateur fitness champion.
That's amazing.
Yeah, by default, because the other two girls didn't show up.
Oh, so there was three of you.
There's three of us.
Awesome. So was that how you ended up getting the spot? Like, tell me about the sponsorship with Blackmore's. Or you became the face of Blackmore's. Like, that's a big deal.
Blackmore's. Yeah, look, that was.
Was that the springboard for that?
No, that was just a fluke. That was a few years later. Actually,
Okay.
I was with the IFBB by then.
Yeah.
But so I finished doing that stuff that I did.
Sports modelling.
Yeah, I did that.
Is this
That
the
was
one where
fun.
you have to dress up as like a referee or a lifeguard and
No, in the evening gowns.
Oh, evening gowns.
Did the
okay.
evening
Oh,
gowns.
nice. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very glamorous, but still loved it. And then I had my Ali after that, so kind of stopped with that. And then I think because innately I am very competitive, maybe not competitive in the sense that I want to beat everybody, more competitive in that I just want to beat myself every time. That experience, I was like, I need more than that. I needed a deeper level of competition.
Yes.
So that's when I went to the IFBB, because that's where
More competitors.
that's where
bigger
there was deeper
field. Yeah.
deeper field, and it really pushed me to be more than what I was.
When you first started, did you know about the IFBB? Because I didn't.
No.
I didn't know it existed.
No.
And it was one of the biggest federations. I just had no clue.
No,
Yeah.
no, I didn't. And I think it wasn't until our friend Katie, she had done a show and she was telling me about it. I was like, I'm going to come and do that.
So that's how you met Katie through the shows.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
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 So, yes. Yeah, we're all ancient together, I think.
Yeah.
So I started with the IFBB. I think that was 2011.
And this, I'll have to
10
tell
or
everyone,
11.
this is when IFBB figure still had front double bicep, side
Yes.
tricep, ab and thigh, rear double bicep, and what was the other one? Side chest.
Side chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do all your pretty little figure quarter turns, and then you do the muscle
I know.
poses with the hands
I
open.
do miss those.
They were cool.
Yeah.
They were
Physique
really cool.
gets to do them all now.
Physique gets to do them, but they're not in the heels, so it's not the same.
Yeah, not quite.
It's not the same.
It's pretty funny in heels.
Yeah, yeah. Doing muscle poses in heels, there's something cool about that.
Yes.
It's ridiculous, but it's
Yes.
great.
And there's some photos floating around where we were all on stage together at one point.
That was
When was that?
That was 2011.
Yeah.
I think you were wearing
Red.
red.
Yeah.
I had green. Katie had blue. That's how I remember the shows, by the costume colour.
I think Laura was
And
in
Katie
pink.
won.
Yeah.
Katie won that
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Laura Ketty. Yeah, that was the first time I'd met Ketty as well. And I was like, she's nuts. She's nuts, this girl.
She's the best.
Yeah. And she had black hair then. Like, everyone would recognise her now with the blonde hair.
Yeah.
She's one that needs to get back on the stage, I'd say.
Yes, I'd like to see her. Every now and then she'll post something. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, yeah, because how much time has she had off? Do you know? Like, it's been
maybe 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years roughly.
It always feels like a really long time, but sometimes it's not that long.
But you guys have done a pro show together, or am I wrong? Did she do
New Zealand.
New Zealand with you?
Yeah.
She
So
did.
New Zealand and then the Arnolds. Did she do the Arnolds?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she did the Arnolds. Yeah. So it was you, Katie, Amanda Doherty, and Laura Keddy
and
that went
Yvette.
across. Oh, Yvette, that's
Yeah.
right, and Yvette. There was 5 of you.
Yeah.
That was a good. That was a good
so
show.
much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you all went to New Zealand. Was that in Auckland or Christchurch? Whereabouts was that?
Auckland.
Auckland.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was Mo's show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he needs to do that again.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was
a
it
lot
was
of
good to
fun.
watch too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the shows like in New Zealand? Like, did you find like there was many competitors? Like, is it much smaller because obviously it's a smaller place?
Yeah, I think they've got some homegrown kind of
Talent?
really talented athletes there too, and Myra was still competing then. I don't know if she would make a comeback if he did another show, but yeah, I think very much like Tony, good solid show it was.
Yeah.
But I think figure was something kind of new to them, so they really enjoyed. The crowd really got behind it.
Really?
They really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so it was a nice experience, like to be
Yeah.
on stage there. No, that's good. That's good. When you're prepping and travelling and, you know, obviously going to other countries and you've had a lot of experience doing that, is there certain things that you find to be particularly difficult that you kind of had to navigate yourself? Like, were you warned about certain things like travelling with ice or water and things that you have to do whilst you're on flights?
I always get things taken off me as I go through security.
Yeah.
I'm like, geez.
The crucial things.
Yeah, I'm like, that's my peanut butter. You can't take that.
Yeah. Yeah. One time, coming back from New Zealand, they took away from me a jar of coconut oil.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's so rude. No. Things like, I guess, the water and the ice and things like that. But usually I just freeze certain meals, so then over time they'll just sort of defrost slowly.
On their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes some of the veggies, like I made the mistake of not cooking some of the veggies once and they took those, but no, mostly it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
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 I know that, like...
the only hard thing is
Yeah.
you have to have an aisle seat because you drink so much water.
Yeah, and you're
up
peeing all
and
the
down
time.
all the time.
Yeah.
And there's nothing...
Disrupting everyone.
Oh, there's nothing worse than having to climb over people.
What's the longest flight that you've had to put up with whilst prepping?
Probably when I went to Florida. That's probably been the biggest one.
How long did that take you?
Ooh, here to LA, which is about 13 hours.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then LA to Florida, which I think was another about 8 hours.
And did you have much of a layover, like in between?
It was just a few hours.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, one like that is a good 24 to 26 hours by the time you finally get there.
Yeah.
I think my next one will be probably just as big.
Decent amount of time. And what sort of strategies do you try and make sure that you don't hold fluid? Like, you're the type of person that does get a bit fluidy and a bit puffy?
Well, as I'm getting a little older, I find I hold a little more fluid than I used to.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
I definitely use the compression socks and tights. Drink heaps of water. Mm-hmm. I don't do carbs on the plane.
Yeah. Do you eat carbs up until the flight, or do you cut them out just in case?
I usually do a good deplete before I do a carb up. I don't carb up until I've been there, for a couple of days and all the water's gone and all that.
Yeah, just to be safe.
Yeah, yeah. What else? Aisle seat, definitely.
Yeah.
And then just kind of move around as much as I can.
Yeah, get up and go to the back of the plane and stretch or do whatever you need to do. Yeah.
Squats and stretching and all that weird stuff people do at the back of the plane.
It's funny because when you do that sort of thing, a lot of the hosties, they know about it now and they're like, oh, you're competing.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're doing squats and drinking lots of water and peeing all the time, they kind of know what you're up to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Going back to your shows, and you competed in heaps. When you won your pro card, so tell me about 2013. Tell me about that prep and how you went about it. and just how you felt after you've actually won.
Okay. Oh, God.
That was the green costume. I remember that.
Yeah. You're making me like really dig into the recesses of my
And this is
mind.
hard because Ash is prepping at the moment, so she's got comp brain, so
Okay.
memory's not the best.
2013, and back then it wasn't Arnold's, it was
FitX. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so just before that, the end of 2012, I won the Australian Nationals figure.
That was in Sydney.
Yes, short class in Sydney. And then off the back of that, just before FitX, I had gone over and done 2013 Arnold Amateurs at Ohio and got 4th in my class there. And then the week after that was FitX, which was the pro qualifier.
So in the space of a month, you'd pretty much belted out.
In a couple of months, yes, I had. For those shows, I was working with Chris Schmid.
Oh, Schmitty. Yeah.
Yes. And, he was, really easy to work with, kept me in line.
Yeah.
I need a bit of keeping in line sometimes.
Did Renee do your suits for those shows? Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful suits.
Yeah.
And got to the FitX and, won the pro qualifier, which
Were you feeling good going into FitX? Like, were you feeling confident,
was.
or were you feeling just completely wiped out?
no, I was feeling really good. The prep was really good.
Yeah.
So I was kind of gaining energy and momentum, as
you
it was
went.
going on. Renee had actually won her pro card in Ohio the week
I
before,
remember that.
and then so it was kind kind of like, all right, well,
On
I
a bit
have
of a
to
high.
I have to win it now.
Yeah, no pressure.
No pressure. I remember going into that show, and there were only 3 of us in that lineup. But you're looking at
Who were you competing
Australia's
against then? Was Sylvia?
Sylvia.
In that? Yeah, Sylvia was.
Sylvia and another lady,
Not Belinda. Belinda.
I think it was Belinda.
Yeah.
I went into it feeling really good, and I just remember thinking, Sylvia and I were very closely matched in our physiques, and that I had to use something to get it over the line, and I felt like that was my presentation.
Yes.
Posing has always been
One of your strengths.
my favourite things, and I worked really hard at it, and I just wanted to make sure that translated on stage because, and you would know as a judge sitting there, you're watching all these people on stage, and if they all look the same, well, what is the one thing that makes somebody better than somebody else?
That's right.
It's just that kind of X factor thing that,
Has to be nice to
subjective.
watch. It can't be
Yeah.
stop-start. It can't be rigid. Like, it has to flow and,
Yeah.
complement your physique, doesn't it? Yeah.
So in my mind, I was thinking, that's it. I'm going to use my presentation to get me over the line.
Yeah.
And it did.
And it worked.
Oh my God, I remember. That was probably the highest of highs, was because I'd done quite a few shows, in the year before, and that leading up to that, and it was kind of like, this is it. Like, this has to be it. When Tony called my name out, I think I cried like a little baby. And went
It's
up
a
on
pretty
stage.
satisfying feeling, and it's quite surreal, really.
Yeah, very satisfying, very relieving.
Yeah.
As well. And it was quite a whirlwind because in that show it was you got your pro card and then you got to go straight back up on stage again.
That's right.
And compete with the big girls. And that was heaps
So
of
what
fun.
happens then? Because obviously, as an amateur, you've been, waiting it out all day, and the pros have been relaxing and just getting hair, tan, makeup, blah, blah. Did you have all of that done again? Like, did you go back to your room, have a shower, and then reapply, or you just right, you just up there?
Yeah, it was just like, oh, hello everybody.
Yeah.
Line back up you go.
Yeah. And you were up again doing your thing.
Yeah.
How did you feel going as an amateur into the pro? Like, did you feel confident, or did that kind of knock you around a little bit?
I felt like the new kid on the block, but at the same time for myself, I felt like this is exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. I didn't. Yeah, I wasn't like I was ridiculously nervous or anything. I was like, yep, this is where I'm meant to be.
I can do this.
I can do this.
Yeah, that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
And was that the year that Erin Stern and Nicole came together? Nicole Wilkins, were they both there that year?
I'm not sure if that was that year. I know I know Erin was there.
Yeah, do you remember who you competed against in the pros that first time? Oh, bloody hell, it's a carbs.
Come on.
Yeah. No. Forget it. Next question.
My memory is terrible when it comes to things like that.
Tell me about your diet at the moment. Tell me about your diet at the moment.
I'm low carb.
I'm just asking questions.
Am I incoherent?
We're not slurring yet, so that's a good sign.
My diet at the moment. So I'm almost 4 weeks out from the Romania Muscle Fest.
That sounds so funny.
It does, doesn't it?
Sounds like a mud wrestling, like muscle fest.
I've been dieting. I usually start about 20 weeks out, but I probably actually don't start till I'm about 16 weeks out.
Yeah, like
it takes me a few weeks to get into it. So I've been dieting for a few weeks. So at the moment, because of where I'm at with the level of leanness, my nutrition on a daily basis is the same, just to try and keep everything even before I deplete and load and do all those sorts of things.
Do you track calories or macros? Like, how do you sort of structure your diet nowadays?
Yes, I track them, but at the same time, I'm a little bit flexible within what I do because of how my life is and family and all those sorts of things. I'm not ridiculously rigid. You know, if I have to change something here and there, I'm not going to have a meltdown or anything. So at the moment, I keep my proteins pretty high. And then my carbs moderately low.
Yeah.
And fats are moderately low.
Yeah.
I suppose.
So most of your calories really were coming from your protein.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you stick to a certain type of protein? Like, are you the type of person that will mix like pork and chicken and like mince or steak?
Yeah. So further out from the show, there'll be more fattier meats and things like that involved. And then just as I'm trying to get a little bit leaner, I'll that's where some of the fats and stuff will start coming out because I'll have leaner meats and turkey and chicken. And at the moment, it depends on the prep too, because usually, you know, by the time I start a new prep, I'm like, I'm never eating, you know, chicken again, or I'm never eating broccoli again or something like that.
Yeah, hating it.
Yeah. This one I'm actually eating. I've come back around. I'm back on the fish.
Are you?
Yeah, only because I enjoy I actually like it.
You're enjoying it.
Yeah. So I ate a lot of fish, a lot of shrimp or prawns, whatever you want to call them, and then a little bit of chicken.
Sylvia was telling me she eats quite a bit of prawns in her prep as well.
Yeah. And then
like the new fish.
It is, yeah.
Easy to eat.
Yeah. And then sometimes I'm really lucky, my husband will randomly bring home lobsters. So I'm
he's a surfer, isn't he? He likes to surf.
Well, he doesn't go
he goes fishing for Lucas. Go on, fish for lobsters.
Oh no, sometimes.
So he doesn't go lobstering.
No. He's got mates that are into that sort of thing. So every now and then he'll just bring home a lobster, and I'll just be like, "Sweet, that's for dinner."
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I do love seafood. Yeah.
How has your prep diet evolved since your first show? Like, do you remember your first show? What you used to eat? Was it a chicken and broccoli type? Thing?
The very, very first one I did, yes, it was one of those terrible, never to be repeated diets ever again.
Yep.
You know, the 8 weeks of
chicken and broccoli
and salad and tuna.
Yep.
That was it.
Tuna out of a can, spring water. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, compared to that, very different. After that experience, I actually did work with Dr. Joe Klemensky, the diet doc, and I worked with him and his team for probably nearly 2 years, and that actually taught me a lot about nutrition. He was he was the one that taught Lane Norton a lot of things that Lane Norton did.
Yeah, wow.
So all of that thing about your macros and that sort of stuff. So I got to learn about how to choose my own foods and what I needed to do and how to track them. And so I learned a lot about that early on, which is probably what's kind of continued on over the years, that I do the tracking and I know what foods suit me and what foods don't.
What sort of foods don't suit you? Like, what have you tried that's a normal comp style food that just doesn't work for you?
Oh, look, all the normal comp style stuff is fine.
Yep.
It's when you try and get away with things that don't quite work. I can't do nothing really wheat based or dairy based. Like, I know some people can get away with them.
Yeah.
But they just don't really help me.
Can you have sugar-free drinks and things during your prep? Or is that something you have to cut as well?
I have in the past. I've had them a lot. But I just choose. I just really choose now not to have them. Mm-hmm. Every now and then, I'll just have one when I feel like it. I'm the same with cheat meals and stuff like that these days. Like, I've tried all sorts of ways to have cheat meals or not have cheat meals, and now I just keep
2 hours on a Sunday stuffing your face silly and seeing what you can jam in so you can...
Yep.
What do they used to call that again?
Binge eating.
Binge eating. Oh, no, they used to say something. It was like filling yourself up and then... it'll come to me. I'll remember it. But, yeah, it was ridiculous. Like, you just guts yourself for a full 2 hours and stuff it down with a stick.
Yeah.
You couldn't fit any more in and, use the extra energy for a leg session yesterday or what have you.
Which was the worst idea ever, because you'd wake up the next day and you feel like shit and you couldn't train properly.
Exactly. You'd feel like shit and you'd have really severe cravings because of it.
Yeah.
So it kind of does you a bit of an injustice in terms of sticking to a diet. It makes things hard, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Makes it really hard. But you learn that as you go, and like everyone will try that sort of thing in the beginning, because it does feel good to go for it and eat whatever. Yeah. But you do suffer and pay for it afterwards.
Yeah, and I mean, in the when you're trying to make progress and it sets you back, days or a week, then you've only got a certain amount of weeks to get
in shape.
Yeah.
Do you have a certain weight that you, like when you're prepping, do you say, okay, I've got 16 weeks or your 20 weeks or whatever, each week I'm going to lose half a kilo, or each week I'm going to lose this amount?
Well, I try and count back that I'm only losing about half a kilo a week, because that way I can be pretty certain that I'm losing fat and not lean mass. Yeah. So max is half a kilo a week, and sometimes if I've had to do more than that, I know what I'm sacrificing, and it's probably because I've done the wrong thing and I've had a cheat that's been too big.
And you're trying to play catch up or something.
Yeah. So 400 grams to half a kilo is what I like to do.
Yeah, and which is, like, that sounds pretty sensible for most girls as well. Like, I know some men can lose a little bit more than that, but it depends on your body, isn't it? And you kind of get to learn what a good amount of weight to lose in a week. Yeah. So you've got a good idea of, if you're losing fat or muscle and how you're feeling. Yeah. You were talking about one of the preps that you felt really good going into, it was the Pro Card, where you actually started to get more and more energized. Is that was just pot luck that time? Or?
I think so. I think that was just the momentum of
Renee winning
and then me wanting to achieve the same thing the week after, and and I think you just...
Is that your first chance at a Pro Card, your first Pro Q, that show?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The year before I had done the open lineup. I think I got second or third or something like that.
Cool.
But in terms of like trying to building momentum and getting more energy, there was that one, and then probably I can't remember the year now, when I went and did
1974. So old.
Fuck.
Yeah.
No, the year that the New Zealand show, like New Zealand and then going into Arnold's, was another one where I felt really good and more energised as I was going along. I came out of that Arnold's like on top of the world. I think I placed 8th or something like that, but the feedback that I got was very positive, and I felt like I could go and do another show a week later. But I think both of those, I feel like it was the prep and how good I was feeling through that prep. And I think you know when you're going to do well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
I do.
The confidence in yourself that you've put all the pieces together the right way.
You've flicked a switch and everything is falling in place. And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just a feeling that you get. I've had preps before where I've felt like complete shit, and I've just gotten up there.
Have you pushed through or have you pulled out?
No, just push through. Because you make that commitment and like you feel like you've got to see it through.
Yeah,
and you see it through, and then you're just like, oh, I know, I don't even need to look at the photos. I know I've got to work on
this and this,
and that maybe that style of dieting wasn't the best choice. And
so tell me about like a prep that you've had that you've just felt shitty the whole time. Like, what were the elements that sort of came about to call that? Well, that was a shit prep. That was no good for me.
Yeah.
But good experience because you learn as you go, obviously.
Yeah. And definitely experience that can be shared with other people so they don't make the same mistakes. Yeah. Look, I think after doing those shows, the New Zealand and the Arnold's, feeling really good, thinking I want to back this up. I want to go overseas again, go back to the US, have another crack. I feel like my body is like
in a good place.
And that, competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I felt like that I needed to have somebody from the US, a coach from the US, coach me into, coach me in the secret business of what it was to be a pro in the US.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I hired an online coach.
Yep.
And it was just, it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me.
Because some people respond their personality and the way they prep, like online coaching is fantastic, whereas other people, it's no good, and you don't know until you try, do you?
Yeah. And it wasn't like the online experience was fine. I just felt like the connection to who I was and who I am and how I operate, and that connection wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it's hard if they don't see how you train or never ask you how you train. And
that's true.
So anyway, it was the diet itself that just does not suit me whatsoever. Was a full prep ketogenic with cheat meals. Does not suit me.
So, and in your cheat meals, even though you're on keto, cheat meals are every week, and you allow carbs during that cheat?
Yep.
Like a cheat with whatever?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, if I hadn't made any progress, then there'd be no cheat. So then I think there would be I went at least 6, probably 6 to 8 weeks with no carbs on fairly low calories. And it was ridiculous. And I remember saying, I would email and say, I'm training really poorly, and I know I can train very hard, and I can be very strong in the gym. And if you say, well, my strength is at about 50%, I don't have the energy, then really something should be done, I feel like. But but nothing changed. And then, the result was what was put on stage.
Fizzled out.
End. Yeah, so I went over to, and then at the end, that's when I went over to Florida, and I did 3 shows. So I invested a lot. I had invested a lot. Invested a lot in the prep, invested a lot in those shows, a lot of time, a lot of money, and it was a very big learning curve for me that if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
What I had been doing previously was exactly what I should have been doing going into those shows as well. But you live and learn.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about a keto diet, because I've done keto diets in the past and I found I feel fantastic on keto.
Yeah.
Like everyone's so different.
Yeah.
But if you have carbs, do you have carbs with every meal, Ash, or like with your prep, or are you having them around training sessions?
Around training, yeah. So, I mean, after that experience, obviously I never did
Keto again?
Full keto. I wouldn't say that I don't do periods of time within a prep where they're just like little nudges when I hit a plateau or something. But for the most part now, all my carbs are around training.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And do you prefer like a certain type of carbohydrate? Like are you into vegetable carbs or like your rices and
I don't
things?
really count my veggies in my carb count.
Intake, yeah.
I do a little bit, but not a lot, only really for overall calories wise. No, carb sources I like. Early on in the prep, I'll still eat some breads and things like that.
Yeah.
Bagels and bread.
Oh, awesome. That's cool.
But then as I start to try and get a bit leaner and stuff, I cut that out. And then I still have – I eat rice bubbles.
Do you?
Yeah, so I can't I eat rice bubbles post-workout.
So rice bubbles, are they quite like high in carbohydrates,
Sugary.
low sugar, or are they quite high in sugar?
Yeah, they've got sugar in
nice.
them. So
That's why they taste so good.
Post-workout I'll eat sugary
everyone's
carbs.
going to be doing this now.
Sorry.
You know how some of the WBFF girls say they have popcorn. Everyone's having popcorn post-workout. Now everyone's going to be having rice bubbles.
Rice bubbles
with
and
water?
Cocoa Pops.
Water or milk?
No, I have. So I'll make my protein shake, which
Yeah.
is usually like a chocolate flavored protein shake with unsweetened almond milk, and I'll pour that in there.
Gross. Ruined.
So, yeah. So
All the
it's either
bodybuilders would be loving that,
Cocoa
though.
Pops or rice bubbles post workout.
Oh, nice.
So aside from the rice bubbles, I'll eat flavored rice cakes and things like that. I don't mind the sodium. Sodium's
good for you.
good for me.
Yeah.
Would
you say like your look is more of a vascular look? Like, you know how some of the girls like Erin Stern, she never really had that vascular look. Whereas like I've seen you on stage and I don't know if it's just
It's just genetic.
Is it genetic?
I try and not look like that.
Yeah.
I've tried,
or is it because you're leaner than what Erin Stern ever was?
Yeah, I am. I do get particularly conditioned.
Yeah.
But I like to get like that.
Yeah.
And then try and pull back from that. And I've tried, using a bit of sodium and water and things like that to try and smooth it out a little bit and not look quite so vascular. But I have to be very careful with my abs because, the minute I start putting those things in, the abs are the first thing that get washed out on me. So it's kind of catch-22.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And you just have to kind of judge your physique and like you can't change your genetics.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know what else do I eat? Oh, I eat oats, all the usual stuff. I don't do sweet potato. It gives me indigestion.
Does it?
Yeah, I don't like it. But I'll eat white potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty normal. Like
Normal
rices,
kind of stuff.
Quinoa.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And you were talking about your training before and you said that you've got a new training buddy or someone that's you've been training with for a while now.
Yes. I have
to give
I have to give my training partner Andrew Drake a shout out.
Yeah.
After that pretty poor showing and experience over in Florida, I had some time off. That was 2017. I didn't compete. All my hormones were all out of whack. Didn't feel great.
So when you say your hormones are out of whack, like, did you mean that like you were just feeling emotional or angry or cranky, or did you put on weight? Like what sort of symptoms
I definitely
did
put
you
on
have?
a whole lot of weight. Probably put on about 15 kilos.
Really?
And that was just obviously poor diet on my part, rebounding after doing all that keto for all that time and
sometimes when you do harsh diets though, don't you find that it becomes uncontrollable, like the
Yes.
urge to eat. Like you
Yeah.
actually, you know that you're going to put on weight, obviously, and you know that you're eating junk and shit food, but you can't actually stop.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
It's a vicious
And you know
cycle.
you've got the willpower because you just did keto for
Yeah.
however many
and I think sometimes
months.
you're harder on yourself because, you know, on one hand, you know you've got the willpower, but then on the other hand, you're like, I just can't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it took quite a few months. I stopped training for a while. I think I was very disheartened too with my placing and my choices. Like, I can't blame anyone else for the choices that I made. Like, I chose to follow that diet. I chose to do all those things. So, it was all on me. I was disappointed in myself.
Yeah.
So a few months off, just away from bodybuilding, and then it was kind of like, my body had kind of no weight would shift.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, oh.
Even though you were doing
and
the
I
right
didn't feel,
things.
and I didn't feel, because I wasn't doing the right things with my food, and I felt like I couldn't, and my sleep was all funny, and it was just, my hair was all limp and horrible, and my skin was horrible, and I was thinking, something's not right. And I went and, got all the regular tests at the GP, and I said, something's not right. Like, I know my body, but the tests came back normal. And I'm like, but something's not right.
So when you get the test done, because like I know that this happens to a lot of competitors, they'll say, oh, you're in the normal range, but the range is like you're on the lower end of the normal range, and that's still not good. Like for you, that can be really detrimental, really bad.
So I think I kind of, after that, I felt a little bit lost after that, and I still hadn't gone back to the gym. And then I ended up coming across a book called The Hormone Cure by Sarah Gottfried, and she's a doctor in the US, and her ideas were all around functional medicine and looking at symptom pictures. And so I read that. It was like a textbook. I read that, and it was all about looking at the symptoms that you were having, and then from those you were able to determine, your hormones, like what was actually going on with your hormones. And it was just, everything was like, yes.
Really?
Yeah. So I kind of like figured out that my cortisol was all over the place, up and down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because down is just as
same, up
bad,
and down.
isn't it? Yeah.
And cortisol was actually not something I'd ever really thought about, because I was I've got everything under control.
Yeah.
But-
Because you're pretty level-headed during a prep, Ash. Like some people just lose their shit and become really crazy.
Yeah.
But
No,
you've
I
always
keep it-
semed to...
Yeah. I can't afford to lose my shit.
Yeah. You've got a child and a job.
So after kind of figuring all that out, it was like, oh, all right, well, I need to sort this out. And then I did the hormone reset diet, which kind of went along with that. And it's kind of like an elimination diet.
Is it?
And then so, every few days you're taking things out and just flushing the body out, getting everything back to normal. There's a lot of mindfulness practices involved with that too, to kind of even things out. And I felt after that...
Did you feel stressed before you started this? Like, did you feel different after doing the
some
mindfulness?
level of anxiety.
Really,
Yeah. And that was not something I'd really had before either. And I didn't think that was normal for me.
Yeah.
So after doing that, it wasn't until then, and that was probably October of 2017, that I actually went, I want to go back to the gym. Yeah, so it was a very long time off, but I think my body and mind needed it, because I was actually getting to the point where I thought I might never compete again. And that would have been really sad, because that's not where I wanted to end my career. Like,
that's right.
That wasn't
Start
really my choice.
resenting something that you love so much. Like, it's such a shame, but it tends to happen quite a lot, doesn't it? And for the same reason, because girls and guys get themselves into situations unknowingly, and really do damage to their body that they then don't know how to fix.
Yeah, and everything fixed with food.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't, there was no medicine, food and mind, and that was it.
So you went back to the gym with
Andrew. Yeah. So we just started training together. Like, we trained every now and then together, and then we were like, yep, And then I said to him, well, yep, I want to do this show. I want to compete next year. And he was like, okay. So we started training together, like all our sessions, and we have been ever since then. So around end of 2017. And he's taught me a lot about just traditional, old school.
Do the work.
Lift heavy, make it count. Yeah. Our very first session, I think we did shoulders, and I sat under the overhead press, and I couldn't get something up, and I was like, nah. And he shouted at me. He's like, you can't say that. And I was like, oh my God, okay. And I think I was in love after that.
You thought,
I was like, yes, you're the best. And
it's a different mentality though, and that's something that sometimes you need to practice as well, is you can't say things like that during a set.
You don't say
when
no. You don't say I can't. You just get it up.
Yeah, and the other thing is if you fail, that's actually winning. You should be trying to go to failure, whether or not you're doing strength training or hypertrophy training or endurance, muscle endurance stuff. If you're not failing, then what's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
You're just doing it for general health and fitness then, so you may as well not compete.
Yeah, and I think for me personally, us working together, I've made my best progress, because you make all that initial progress when you first start training, and then I thought I was training hard, but I don't think I was making the progress that I needed to. But since that point onwards, we were able to make a lot of progress.
You've definitely, just as an outsider looking in, I saw you at the IFBB posing workshop the other weekend, and you got your kit off at the end and you did some poses for Michael, which was really cool. You've put on a shitload of muscle, but in all the areas that you're lacking.
Yes.
So it's not as if, you just built the areas that you genetically had already. You've actually made significant improvements on the structure and the symmetry of your physique.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I think anyway.
Yes, and I think, and Andrew's got a very good eye for all of those things too, and so we've been working very hard on bringing those areas up. He helped me, with the training, he helped me get ready for Vancouver last year.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the comeback show, because I'd had so much time off, and then it was really, we were looking at 15 kilos of fat off and then trying to put a little bit of muscle back on, and so I think we were able to achieve
going backwards as well.
Yeah. So, what I was able to put on stage, I was happy, we were happy with. I knew that there was still more work to be done. So coming back from that last year, I was really motivated, and we just kept working really hard. And hopefully in 4 weeks, when I go over to overseas, we'll be able to present something that's more complete. So
more complete and something you'll be proud of, especially from where you've come from as well.
Yeah.
So, Asha, tell us what shows are coming up for you now.
So 4 weeks is the Romania Muscle Fest.
Yeah, the Muscle Fest.
Yes, and I'm going over there with my friend Sharon. She's going to do the amateur show.
And Sharon, I'll have to add, Sharon's doing, she retired.
Yes.
And now she's back.
She's Johnny
she might
Farnham.
retire after this, and then she's going to come back again. Well, they both got blonde hair. So Sharon Farnham is coming back to a stage near you, and then hopefully she'll take out her pro card in the next show and hop on stage with the pros. Are you going to be doing Arnold's figure?
I'm hoping so, yes.
Yeah, so you girls don't find out just yet, do you?
No.
When does Tony normally give you the heads up?
Probably not until December.
Okay.
Yeah. So I haven't put my application in yet.
What?
But I will be.
Okay.
No, I'm going to, so I've got Romania in 4 weeks, and then the week after Romania, I'm going to do the Legion Sports Fest in LA.
Cool. What's with all the fests?
I know. Oh, because they're festivals.
Oh.
They go over 2 and 3 days. So, yeah, they have that, it's like an Arnold, but not an Arnold.
Fest. I don't know why that amuses me so much, but it really does.
So I've got those 2 shows, and then I'll put my application in after that, because I feel like off just the back of Vancouver, I think I placed 13th at Vancouver, I don't feel like that's a strong enough application because we've got so many good
Figure
girls now.
Yeah,
It's
they're all
just
going
that's
to
just not
apply.
enough.
Yeah.
So I'm
and Tony
taking-
takes these things into consideration. He has a look at the previous shows and how many shows you've done and how well you've placed and all that stuff.
So I'll do these and then I'll put my application in after that, hopefully with some really good results.
Well, Asha, I wish you all the best, as of the rest of Australia. And I know that, you'll step on stage next time with just a completely different package and Asha Pry that we haven't yet seen. So that's exciting.
Thank you.
And if people want to follow your journey to the stage, or if they want to contact you for posing or comp prep or anything that you're doing, you said you're sort of stepping back a little bit from that.
Yeah, I don't do comp prep. I do a little bit of posing coaching down in the Wollongong area.
Yes. So if people want to contact you, how do they go about it?
You can contact me through Facebook. Just message me on there. Or I'm mostly on Instagram, so you could get me on there. It's at Asha IFBB Pro. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Asha, for coming in and joining
Thanks
us.
for having me.
And guys, if you'd like to get more information or contact me on Instagram, visit at myposingcoach or via my website, myposingcoach.com. Thanks for listening. Bye.